Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Wellness Wednesday Inspiration. My name is Fernanda, and I am here with Dr. Linda Marquez, and super happy to be back with you all today. I missed the last two episodes. Unplanned things happen, and we just kind of roll with the punches and continue moving, but I'm super excited to be back, and we have an amazing guest today. I'm super excited about bringing her on today. I'm ready to take notes. I am ready to learn. It's a topic that really all of us can benefit from because everybody eats. So today it's all about meal planning and creating a meal plan for health and fitness. So how can you do that, and how can you maximize your meals, and how can you meal prep for success? And Dr. Linda, how are you?
Hi, great. It's nice to have you back. I know we've kind of been off for a couple weeks, but like you said, things happen and we go on with life. It's kind of like you get a flat tire. What do? You fix the flat tire and you get back in the car and you drive, instead of like most people, what do? They go and then they slash the other three and they're like, I'm stuck. It doesn't work. But, we just keep going on with life. So, that's kind of the example that you and I try to share with our listeners. So I'm excited also about this topic because it's so relevant, regardless of, what your lifestyle is, regardless of what your preferred eating template is, whether you're carnivore, whether you're paleo, whether you're vegan, Mediterranean, it really doesn't matter. I think the bottom line is always going to be for you to plan, have some sort of plan. Otherwise, if you don't have a plan, you're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to go in circles. So, really excited because meal planning, like you said, we all eat. And I mean, that's just part of life. And a lot of times we celebrate with food. So there's ways to navigate around that as well. But I think the most important time is really taking the time at home to prepare for your meals. And I mean, introduce our guest because she's like the perfect person to talk to with in regards to this, because so many people have excuses. You're busy, I'm busy. And, our guest today is Caitlin Havenier. She's a nutrition coach, but most of all, she's been doing meal plan prepping for her clients, and has recipes for them. And it's super important because, as I mentioned earlier, we need to do this on a weekly basis. So she'll give us some ideas, but a little bit about Caitlin. She is a busy mom. She's got 4 kids. Imagine that. 5, 9, 10, and 13. And we only have 1 at home right now, but we're still busy. And you have 2 at home, Fernanda. So we're still busy. So she's going to give us some strategies. How do we, why is it important to meal prep? How do you do this? And as I mentioned, there's so many different eating templates that people follow. So hopefully everybody can walk away with something, because you can meal prep according to what your body needs, whether you want fat loss, whether you're, it's an autoimmune condition, whether you need more energy. There's so many different strategies out there, but hopefully we can just narrow it down to just some real simple time-saving strategies and bring this on to our guest. Caitlin, also, what's really cool about her story is she went on a weight loss journey, and she has lost over 50 pounds and has able to maintain it, because so many times we see people that lose weight, and guess what happens? They gain it right back. And she's like her own living testimony story that you can lose it and maintain it. Don't go on the yo-yo diet, and slow and steady is better. And it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So let's bring Caitlin on.
Hello, Caitlin. How are you?
How's it going?
We are super excited to have you on today. And being a meal expert and a meal planning expert, I can't wait to hear and learn from you and take notes and actually apply a lot of the things that you're going to share with us into my day-to-day routine. So super excited to have you on today. And if you could just tell our audience a little bit about you.
Well, my name is Caitlin. I am a mother of 4, like you mentioned. I have been a whole food, plant-preferred recipe creator for over a couple of years now. I got started on YouTube, moved over to a blog. Now I have Instagram, and I got everything. I wanted to be able to have some credibility in the nutrition I was talking about, because I've been super obsessed with nutrition since I lost weight. So I got certified with Precision Nutrition, and now I'm doing nutrition coaching as well, which has been super fun. And last year I actually took a dive and quit my tech job to go all in on this. So it's pretty awesome. I enjoy it, and I enjoy helping others.
That's wonderful. And Caitlin, to begin with, and just opening it up, why is it important to meal prep?
Well, if you do not plan your meals, it is a lot more likely that you are going to make poor last-minute decisions. When you're really hungry and you're running low on time, you might quite possibly just end up going to a fast food restaurant or something like that, or grabbing, I don't know, ramen noodles if you don't go out to eat. So when you put some thought into planning your meals, you are setting yourself up for success, versus if you don't, you're likely to grab something convenient and quick. And those types of foods are usually not as good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that you do now on a weekly basis? Because with your health journey, I don't even like to call it weight loss. It's more like weight maintenance, or actually achieving for optimal health, which is different for everybody. Some people feel comfortable. Some ladies feel comfortable at 18% body fat. Some are comfortable at 23% body fat, so everyone is different. But in your journey, what have you seen? Meal prepping obviously is super important, because you have to have a plan. You've got to have a plan. So when is it that you do that? Do you plan them on weekends? You do something like every other day? What have you seen as far as some really effective strategies?
Well, I definitely used to do a lot more rigid planning when I was doing on my 50 pounds weight loss journey. At that time, it was very, very important that I followed everything to the T. But it depends on what your goals are. I think that you don't have to have a rigid plan all the time. But definitely for people who are just getting started with healthy living, I think that doing the work to do that planning is going to help you, educate yourself and get used to cooking healthy meals. Right now, I think I'm a little different because I'm so creative in the kitchen. I have a produce delivery service that I just kind of stock up on a bunch of organic produce, and then I use Walmart delivery. So I look at all the foods that I've ordered before, and I'll look and see what meat's on sale and what beans and stuff like that, and I'll add that to cart, and then I just try to use up all that stuff before it goes bad. But again, that's I'm very creative. I can go in the kitchen and be like, okay, I got some chicken I got to use, and I've got some rainbow chard. I think of meals as a formula, lean protein, vegetable, healthy fat, and complex carbohydrate, healthy carbohydrate. But when you are trying to lose weight and maybe you're not quite as creative as I am, I think what's really great, and what I do from time to time, especially when I'm in my recipe creation phase, is I like to use either Pinterest or Yumly, and just kind of in your spare time, or whenever you think of something that you want to cook, you can go in there and add the recipe to your board. You can involve your family with that. And that's a great way to get kids to try some healthy new foods, is maybe they'll be like, I want mac and cheese this week, Mom. So you can go look, and you can go on my website, because I have a healthy mac and cheese recipe. It's full of cauliflower and broccoli. But if you involve your family, you're more likely to get them on board with the healthy eating as well. So I'll in my free time, I'll gather these up. I'll gather up a collection of recipes, and then on like a Saturday, it really doesn't matter, but you'll want to come up with some regular cadence so you can get in a good habit of doing this. On Saturday, you'll want to look at the meals you have ahead of you. plan what meals you're going to be doing. And I really love to say, like, make extra if I can. It's really hard around here with a large family, to be honest. Mm-hmm. They eat everything that I make. But to have extras for like lunch the next day, or maybe even dinner a couple nights from then. And then you have to think, like, which ones am I not going to have much time to cook that I'll need to pre-prep? And those are the ones that you might spend your Sunday chopping vegetables, or that really depends on your goals, though, and when you're free and when you're busy.
Mm-hmm. So, I remember when my kids I had all 3 kids at home. I only have 1 now. We would choose Sunday. And I mean, just this past Sunday, what I did also was I cooked some chicken, I cooked some ground beef, and like a few pounds of each, and just put them in containers, because I can use that, repurpose that chicken. Like my daughter can give her like chicken and rice, or have a salad, put some chicken on it, or heat up some bone broth or vegetable broth, put some chicken in that as well. So, I mean, that's already like, 3 meals. Or grab like some lettuce, put some chicken with salsa in there, and there you go with like a healthy taco. Same thing with like the ground beef. You can be so creative. We mix like the ground beef and some eggs. That sounds crazy, right? We mix it in eggs and put a little bit of like salsa in there, some onions. So even that's kind of what we did, and because we did have like 2 teens that were super hungry, eating all the time, and then a younger one. And then on Sundays we'd do the just make a huge salad. I mean, it really lasted like 3 days. And I mean, it was huge, and put tons of stuff in it. So people can be really creative with that too, right? With the salad as kind of like your base, and just throw all the protein on it.
Yeah. And I love how you say you repurpose stuff, because you can also, I don't know if you've heard of Buddha bowls, but you can pre-prep all those ingredients. I have them on my site if anybody's curious. But you can pre-prep the brown rice and the chickpeas and the chicken and all the veggies, and then you can put them all into a bowl like a Buddha bowl, or you can do what you said. You can do it that way, and then the next day maybe you roll it into a burrito, or serve it with as a stir fry with eggs, or there's a lot of ways you can get creative and just prep things in bulk, so that you don't have to be reinventing the wheel every night.
Caitlin, a question about if someone really wants to get very strict with themselves and their meal prepping, and they want to follow, perhaps like you were doing when you were on your journey of weight loss and everything. If they want to say, okay, this is it, and I'm going to apply myself, how long would it take normally, like per week, to be able to craft and create and cook and package and everything realistically?
Oh man, good question. I am notoriously slow in the kitchen, even though I've learned all these techniques on being quicker. I'm just, I think I enjoy being in there. So, but let's see. You'll want to plan the meals that you're going to do first. So that actually, I have an infographic, and this is something I'm going to link that I want to share. But it has times on it as well. So I'm glad you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to share it with you guys. I want everyone to get it, because it will help you. It's an infographic. You can follow it step by step. So according to them, look ahead at your schedule. Only takes 5 minutes for me. That might take 15, because I get distracted easily. 2 would be kind of making a menu for the week. So that might be 15 minutes. And I actually have another document for you guys. For those that don't want to spend too much time on Pinterest and Yummly looking for recipes, I have a perfect meal template. It's really awesome.
What is that? What does you mean by perfect meal? What does that mean?
So it's basically a formula of lean protein to healthy fats to veggies and healthy carbs. And it has a list of, okay, choose from these types of meats. This is just a way to make things easy for people, so they don't have to come up with some gourmet meal idea. They can kind of just follow this formula. It's really cool too, though, because the last part is, what kind of seasonings you want to put on it. And so they'll have like a Mexican seasonings. These are the ones if you want it to be Mexican, Italian. These are the seasonings you want Italian. It's really cool. I have that ready to link for people because I think that
if you can share that, we'll link it up to the podcast and the notes that comes with this. So that would be awesome. So like if you're meal prepping for like, because you work with different clients, if you are doing meal prepping for someone that, let's just say, has some sort of autoimmune condition or has some skin condition, can you kind of give us some guidance how you work that and how do you keep the kind of like the macros, the macronutrients, not just the minimum, because so many people eat according to, they look at what the RDA is, which the RDA, their recommended daily allowance, is very minimal. That's just to survive. It's not to thrive. So even with a lot of supplements out there, people have to go way beyond the RDA, no matter what's like on, when I look at supplements, patients bring them in. I'm like, well, you're going to have to take like 10 of those just to get the optimal benefits so you can actually see a health change. So how do you work with that?
Most of the clients I work with I'm trying to establish a healthy baseline for them. So I don't do a whole lot of like, strict counting. For macros, we use our hand to estimate different things like protein, fats, carbohydrate, and a fist for veggies. And depending on your goals, you'll have different amounts, but then we also encourage eating as many different colors of fruits and vegetables as you can, because every color has, a different set of nutrients. So for somebody with, autoimmunity, I'm going to be trying to push as many different colors of fruits and vegetables as I can from quality sources. So I probably recommend even more for them. But that would be the focus for somebody who's just focusing on general health or autoimmunity itself. I mean, I have for like fat loss, there's a little bit, I skew it a little bit depending on their goals. But we do generally keep track of our macros that way. It just makes it easier. We don't want to, most people, the general population, I try to give them a means to implement healthy living in an easy way. With precision nutrition in particular, who I was certified with, we don't mess with the strict counting unless they're what we would consider a level 2 or level 3 client. Mm-hmm. And most people are level 1. We want to just try to get them to eat as many whole fruits and vegetables as we can, and be able to estimate their portions.
So it's almost like a general, like level 1 is just like a basic, okay, this is what, a decacard is, this is what your protein looks like. And like you were saying, your fist is, a cup, and just real general. And then as you go to level 2 and 3, it's just probably more specific for if it's, different autoimmunity conditions, as some of them can't do nightshades, or if it's more for fat loss or just very specific conditions, then you would go to like the level 2s and 3s.
Yeah, I mean, most people stay in the general category. You'd be surprised, people that are looking for advanced strategies that really haven't nailed the basics. So I try my best to make sure everybody's got a great baseline with all healthy habits. And I focus on deep health. So it's not just nutrition, it's about getting the sleep you need and the exercise and connection with others. It all plays into your general health. And I really try to get a solid baseline on that before, I focus on extra special strategies.
Very interesting. And that's very important that you mentioned that, because we are always here talking about how everything comes together. You cannot treat one thing or change one thing without changing everything else and expecting the same result. So it comes together with how you sleep, the quality of the sleep, and how you think, how you feel about yourself, the emotions that you're having every day, and how you eat. and the exercise, the amount of exercise that you do every day, and how much water you're drinking, and whether you're surrounded by chemicals or not. So all of these things play a huge role in our overall health. And so that's very important that in your program you utilize and you also implement and care about, sleeping and eating and exercise and all of these other factors, because they certainly play a role.
Yeah, I mean, your body is so, it's so complex, and there's so many variables that before you can really suggest, I mean, it's not that I wouldn't suggest a supplement, but I think it is definitely really important to cover all your baselines, before, instead of just say, oh, forget the fruits and vegetables, here's a multivitamin, plus some B and vitamin D, because you're working on your immunity, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I attack it. In all honesty, I haven't worked with autoimmunity issues directly just yet. I specialize in weight loss. So I have dealt more with issues regarding just general lifestyle and healthy living in general, and techniques to be able to reduce the amount of energy you take in, through your eating. So,
and talking about weight loss, of course, is a major issue in the country, obesity and people that are overweight. What are, let's say, the top 3 things that people that want to meal prep for weight loss should do?
Okay, so you'll want to focus on getting a lot of veggies and lean protein, because fiber plus protein is what's going to make you feel full. So as much of that volume as you can add from vegetables with some lean protein is great to pair together. I think aiming to have a salad daily is a good goal for somebody trying to lose weight. That'll make you feel a little more full. You're getting lots of vitamins. They're going to keep you healthy. It's a good way to go. Having lean and filling snacks easily available and in view. So we've got like a tower of fruits to grab over here in my kitchen. When I was on my weight loss journey, I brought lean mozzarella sticks and fruit and cut up veggies with me everywhere I went. And no joke, I'd be at a bar with a friend and I'd pull out a cheese stick.
I love it.
If you can keep yourself, you don't want to get to ravenous, because when you're at ravenous, anything in sight, you'll want to eat, and you're just setting yourself up for failure again, like we mentioned at the beginning, because you're not planning. So I would always carry something just in case. Let's see, I took another note here. I want to make sure I got to. And you want to make sure you're getting an optimal amount of your healthy fats and carbohydrates as well. A lot of people demonize carbs. Carbs are not the enemy. You should always be trying to get healthy carbs, and I think people overeat carbohydrates. So that's something to consider too, is trying to limit it to your cupped hand, 1 to 2 of those a meal. But that really depends on the person and their goals. And if anybody's looking for a custom eating plan, you can contact me, and I can get that to you for whatever your goal might be.
We already have someone in the messages asking for your information. So we'll ask you about that in just a few minutes once we're getting done. And I also posted your website, which is coming up on the screen. But yes, I see how important it is and how amazing you are at working together with so many different parts, like we were talking about. And that really makes a difference with someone who's only working on one aspect versus someone who's working on different aspects of your health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all important. Why are you eating late at night? Like, that's a lot of times people have it's for emotional reasons or boredom. And, I also try to help people develop that self-awareness, of what your actual hunger is at any given moment. Should you be eating if you're not even hungry? Are you eating because you're sad? It's all important.
And usually if a person has those late night cravings, or wants to eat, you always have to ask yourself, am I really hungry, or is it emotional? Am I bored? Because so many times I think most people are just bored, and they don't have anything to do. Or we hear a lot people say, oh, I'm an emotional eater, or I look for comfort food. But then as we get into the mindset so much, right, Fernanda, it's like, okay, you keep asking the question, well, why? And is that really going to solve the root cause of that problem? And as we know, most people that have any type of health issues, especially those that struggle with weight, I would say 99.9% of the time, there's some sort of emotional connection. And it's not just about changing the food, but it's also changing about the person that you are. And the only way you're going to change the person that you are is you have to create a new personal reality or personality, which makes you have to basically become a new person, because you're probably a different person today than you were when, you were carrying the extra, 50 pounds, just the way you thought, the way you looked at life, the way who you surrounded yourself with just made a real big difference. So I think it's awesome how you're just not looking at one component, as Fernanda said, you're looking at the various components as well, because it's all interconnected. So when you have someone that you're working with, let's say, I know you work a lot with weight loss, but it's important also, like some people want to gain weight. And exercise is going to be such an important component of that as well, because, of course, muscle, having adequate muscle on our body is really important too. And just because you lose weight, you still want to have an idea like what your fat loss percentage is versus your muscle mass. You want to be able to, I would say, spare as much muscle.
Yes.
When you're on a weight loss journey.
Yes, and that's why we have a baseline for protein. So it's usually the fat and the carbs that get tailored up or down depending on the goal. But you want to maintain a baseline of that protein so you're not losing lean muscle mass.
And do you determine that based on activity, based on, how do you base that? Because I'm not sure if you're familiar with some of the studies of Dr. Lehman. Does that name
it's not ringing a bell? It doesn't mean I haven't read it, but
okay, yeah, because a lot of it is about the necessity of protein and what the minimum requirement based on the amino acids and leucine and what people need for just for optimal health. So I don't know if you were familiar with that.
I've done some research because I used to be fully plant-based for a while. But I generally follow the guidelines that Precision Nutrition has, since they're such a reputable company. And I think right now, because I'm kind of, I myself, I'm trying to build a little bit of muscle mass, but stay lean. I'm going for at least a gram of protein per pound of body fat right now. But that varies a little bit with what your goals are, for sure.
For body fat or body weight? Muscle mass?
Oh, I'm sorry, body weight.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but that's individual as well. And I mean, if somebody's looking to figure that out, I don't know all the numbers at the top of my head. I'll have to go look into it for them. But I know if you're building muscle, you want to try to aim for like maybe 2 palms of protein foods at each meal. And that doesn't necessarily need to be meat. It can be beans. I am an advocate of plant-based. Well, I call myself plant preferred. So I love utilizing things like lentils and tofu. I think it's really good to vary your diet and your protein sources. So.
Awesome. Well, they have to get in touch with someone like you, because it can be really tricky with the macros and going over your carbohydrate macros when you're plant-based, and you have to be able to really get dialed in, because it's like, all right, how do I do that? And I want to make sure I get all my, my essential amino acids. And so there's a whole, it can be complex for some people, like you said, and that's why they should get in touch with someone that is very experienced with, okay, if I'm going to go plant-based, and I want to make sure I get my essential amino acids at each meal, and also the importance of uh, in order for us to absorb the vitamins from vegetables, we need fat. And a lot of people just don't know that. So, you're probably a wealth of information for that. How about like kitchen tools? What would you recommend for our listeners? What are some kitchen tools? What are some things that like absolutely, I know for me, I have to have my Vitamix. What about you, Fernanda? What's your one thing that you can't live without in your kitchen?
My blender.
Yeah.
Do a lot of shakes every day, like morning shakes and vegetable shakes at night. So my blender is probably my number one tool in the kitchen.
Do you have a Vitamix?
I have the bullet blender.
Okay.
And so I do all kinds of like fruits and protein and collagen. And at night I do a vegetable shake. So the blender, the bullet blender, it's for sure probably my favorite thing in the kitchen.
Yeah, me too. What about you, Caitlin? What would you recommend for our listeners besides the blender?
I love my Instant Pot.
Yes.
I can't believe I lived so long without it before. It's excellent. You can make boiled eggs that are easy to peel. You can do your grains quickly. It's funny because I'm talking about meal planning and being structured, but I'm not always the most structured person. And what I love about the Instant Pot is that I can decide to cook dry beans last minute without soaking them the night before and cooking for a really long time. So I think it's really excellent. We throw all types of things in there. There's one pot meals, doing your grains or your beans or your eggs. You can even do yogurt in it. It's really cool.
Have you used an air fryer?
I have an air fryer too. That would be one of my second. I mean, obviously I love my blender too.
Yes.
And whatever, I'm sorry, I forgot what you mentioned, Dr. Lindo, but whatever it was that you mentioned, I definitely love that one too. But air fryer has been like another level, it's really cool to be able to kind of fry things without any oil. I've come up with some cool recipes. I've got a buffalo cauliflower recipe on my website that I came up with the air fryer. So I think it's really awesome. And you can roast in it too. I've gone from like roasting potatoes and switched it over to air fry to crisp them up. It's really convenient. I love it.
That's going to be on our list, Fernanda. We're going to have to get one because I've been wanting to get one. I don't know if you have one, but
no, I do not have one, but now I want one.
Yes, I've heard about. I'm like, okay, I have to get them, and they're really not expensive. They're under $100, So, and it sounds like it's like you were saying, Caitlin, like you can get even like crispy food without using all the oils and frying. Yeah. So get all the hydrogenated oils, or even, things become a little bit more rancid with more oxidation when you fry. So that's going to be on our list.
Yeah, definitely less messy too. And I've got one more that I think is important too. I think it is important to get a good knife and cutting board, because I think a lot of time ends up being wasted when you're slow at chopping and learning how to use your knife too. I went a long time not really knowing how to use my knife, and what's funny is my fiance taught me how to cut vegetables.
Do you have a video for that? Do you have a video?
I don't. I need to do. You know what? It's actually on my list right now to do a like bare bones basics.
How to chop.
Yeah, like this is how you chop, and you're gonna cook everything in this pan, like just like a bare bones. Because so many people say they don't have time to cook, or they can't cook, or they don't like cooking. It's my goal in as many ways as I can to make things simple, and almost so simple that you have no excuse not to do it.
That's awesome.
Beautiful. All right, Caitlin, can you give us the information for the free stuff that you have for our audience, and then how can they get in contact with you? Once again, I'm going to put the website up, but if there is any other way to get in contact with you for anyone who wants to work with you and just go over meal prepping and talk about their goals and how you can help them reach them, that would be amazing.
All right, I will do that. It was great talking to everybody.
Thank you so much. And then last but not least, and if you can just put it in the chat, we have the videos and I'll send you all the links and everything. You can just put it in the comment sections for the videos for Dr. Linda and I, so we can both have our audience be able to reach that and just benefit from it.
Oh wait, do you want me to chat here and stream or
Oh,
comment?
you can do that. You can do that. That would be awesome too if you can put it in the chat in StreamYard.
Okay. All righty. Well, I definitely want everyone to be able to get, I've got a meal prep guide that's, goes a little more into detail than what I did today. That's fantastic. And the perfect meal template is here too. I'm going to send it in the comments. And then I'll paste my contact info as well.
Wonderful.
That would be awesome. Yeah. So one thing that, do you want to finish up with the quote or Fernanda?
Sure, we can do a quote. You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. So my quote today comes from Abraham Maslow, and he says, "You will either step forward towards your growth or back into your safety."
Ooh,
So,
I like that one.
yes.
What about you, Caitlin?
I'm going to give one that's not like directly related to food prep, but it is something that inspires me every day. I'm doing this line of work because I transform my life and I want to do it for others. And so I've got this quote on a thing in front of me all the time: "Be the change you would like to see in the world." So I try to strive to be a good influence and role model for others, and inspire change for others. Now, I don't try to force it. I try to just live it out so that I can inspire others to have that same transformation.
Yes, that's a timeless one, and I love that. And well, kind of what came to my mind as I was preparing for this, and since yesterday too, is also, I don't know if it's more, I guess it is a quote. I would hear Tony Robbins always say this, but you have to plan. You have to have a plan. If you don't plan to succeed, you're planning to fail. Is that one of Tony Robbins? I don't know. I've listened to so many, and I have this big, thick book of quotes, but I've heard it repurposed by a lot of speakers, transformational coaches, mindset coaches. But really, if you don't have if you don't plan to succeed, you have a plan, you're planning to fail. So always have a plan to succeed, whatever area of that life is, with spirituality, health, just being the best version of you. So I'm leaving it there.
That was an awesome conversation, Caitlin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then we, once again, I'm going to put the website up. So if anyone wants to get in contact with Caitlin, please visit transcendweightloss.com. And then we will have the information down in the comments or actually you sent it here. Let me just put it up right now before we go off the air. And that was awesome. Thank you so much, Caitlin. I really appreciate having you here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Caitlin. We'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.